Most of us are familiar with the Audi Quattro story by now, how in 1980 Audi took four-wheel drive technology from the farmyard onto the rally stage and revolutionised the world of rallying. In its first outing in 1981, the Jana Rally in Austria, it won by 20 minutes. And in 1982, Audi had the WRC manufacturer's title in the bag.
Audi's Hannu Mikkola scored the 1983 driver's title the following year, and Audi narrowly missed out on the manufacturer's prize to Lancia. But in 1984, it won both drivers' and manufacturers' championships. Things, though, were about to get tougher.
In 1982, when they got that WRC win, something big was happening in rallying. Something else big besides the four-wheel drive technology, and it was called Group B.
Car makers were starting to take advantage of the new Group B rules to create a bunch of incredible purpose-built, no-holds-barred rally mutants. Cars like the mid-engined four-wheel drive Peugeot 205 T16. How was Audi going to compete with that kind of technology with what was essentially a modified road car?
Well, it did it with this, the Sport Quattro.
Depending on where you're standing, it might not look much different to a regular Quattro. The rear looks pretty much the same, and so does the front for the most part, although you've got the vented nose you'll see on some of Audi's modern performance cars. But there was now a 20-valve engine under the bonnet of the Quattro, Kevlar body panels and a radically shortened chassis. Audi chopped 320mm out of the wheelbase to make it more agile on tight corners on the rally stages, and it fitted the upright screen from the Audi 80 saloon because drivers had asked if there was anything that could be done to cut reflections.
And to homologate it all, they had to build this, the Sport Quattro road car. They built just over 200 of them, and instead of the 200 horsepower the regular Quattro's got, this one had 306, and it is an absolute animal. I was lucky enough to drive one of these, a normal Quattro, should I say, back in January, and it was a lot of fun. It still sounded good, it still went pretty well, but this is on a whole new level. Obviously it would be. It feels more nimble because of the shorter wheelbase. It feels way punchier, as you'd expect, given it's got 50% more power. It's quite a wait for the boost to come in, but by 4,000 it is absolutely on song. Let's get it there. Ready?
Back in 1984, there wasn't much on the road that could keep up with the Sport Quattro. A 0 to 60 miles an hour time of 4.8 seconds meant even a Countach had its work cut out in the straight fight, and of course, if the road was damp, it was so long, Lambo. But if the Sport Quattro road car feels rapid with 306 horses under the bonnet, what must it have felt like with almost double that power in full Group B rally trim? Well, today, I'm going to find out. This is a Quattro S1 E2, and it's the actual Group B rally car driven by Stig Blomqvist at Rally Finland in 1985, and by Walter Röhrl at the RAC that year, where he had a massive accident, but I'll try not to dwell on that too much. You can tell it's an E2 because it has the huge aero kit, and at one point in its life it even used an early PDK dual clutch gearbox, though these days it's running a conventional manual transmission.
Admitting this is pretty terrifying. I've driven lots of supercars with a lot more power than this, but this is something else. Even just sitting inside is quite intimidating, isn't it? Look, it's surrounded by this roll cage, this sort of stripped bare interior. Here we go. So at the minute this car, I think it's running about 400 horsepower, which is a lot less than what it was running in competition trim in the day. I have a feeling it'll seem like plenty. The steering's really meaty. Loads of feel in it. Feels very machine-like so far. We're not talking about a nimble, delicate sports car. We're talking about an absolute beast of a machine. We're in third gear now, doing a bit of a clog. Nothing's happening. 5, still nothing. cliff or something like that. My face, I'm sure it looks a right picture, but it's so intense. No supercar driven feels anything like as outrageous as this. Let's get into second. These are really old tyres. The tyres are about 30 years old out here. Not the stickiest. Trying to drive it like F1 drivers used to talk about the turbo era, about giving the accelerator boot full way before the apex so that you were on boost by the time you got around the corner, but I think you might have to do something like that in this. Not feeling it massively playful. I'm sure someone with more talent than me could make it dance around, but down a second. And that's the thing, I can calm it down, can't I? I can just take a breather because I'm only messing around on a track. What about those guys and girls who are doing this non-stop on a rally stage, no respite at all? I mean, I already had respect for them, but having been inside one of these things, it's on another level. How do they do it? So I'll boot it early, see what happens. Still can't really get it to rotate. I'm sure there's a technique. I'm sure someone better than me can do it. All I'm getting is a bit of understeer. You want it there, but it's not there. It feels like a sort of car that would just take a long time to really get the best out of. Maybe, maybe someone like me would never get the best out of it. I think it probably takes a certain kind of driver to really work with all these idiosyncrasies. When you think about cars like Escort RS 1800 that have gone before, nimble, rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated, okay, they had a big, white cami engines, but nothing like this. Really flamboyant sideways. This is a completely different ballgame, isn't it?
Audi introduced the new Quattro S1 rally car alongside the old long-wheelbase Quattro right at the very end of its championship-winning 1984 season. But despite Audi's best efforts, it couldn't carry on that winning form into 85. Peugeot's 205 T16 dominated the 1985 season, Audi picking up just one win that year, and it won no races in 1986. Group B was banned halfway through that year following a couple of tragic accidents, but the Sport Quattro did find a home in Rallycross and at Pikes Peak, where Walter Röhrl broke the hill climb record in 1987. The original Quattro road car lived on until 1991, but 3 decades later, the Quattro name itself is alive and kicking in Audi's current lineup.
It's been a great day today, and it's been a real privilege for me to drive both of these cars. I've come away with huge respect for the people who wrestled these things on the Group B stages in the day. mind-blowing to think how much physical and mental effort was involved in doing that. And it also made me think about modern all-wheel drive cars and how much we take that technology for granted.